Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. God bless you, depending on your time zone. My name is Pastor Yemi Omogboyega. It's nice again for us to ruminate on some important matters concerning human development. And I will title it President Traore, a symbol of African emancipation. President Traore, a symbol of African emancipation. In the news, consistently now, are reports of President Traore's exploits in the quest for the emancipation of Africa, that is, liberating Africa from the stronghold of her oppressors, the superpowers of this world, and making the people be who they are, human beings and not subhuman beings. People who should determine their own fate, who should determine their own destiny according to the will and purpose of God for that continent, and not people that will be exploited and used, abused, and just be treated as subhuman beings, as we are experiencing in Africa. We have been experiencing it. We are still experiencing it. We are at the point of exiting that stage of human existence where it is a matter of the master servant or the matter of human and subhuman existence. And today, if there is anybody to look up to, or somebody who has at least struck the chord or hit the nail on the head properly, there is no doubt, is President Traore of Burkina Faso. Now, let me go into a little bit of history, the little that I would say I knew about Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, I think that's the country that was called Ouagadougou in those days. And all of a sudden, in 1978, a military leader arose that by name Thomas Sankara, and age 34, a colonel in the army, and he took over power. And as at that time, it was ex-president Babangida that was the military president of Nigeria. And I remembered, not long after, Thomas Sankara, vibrant, visionary, young, and who has a promising future for his country, and whose future itself is was bright, trying to map out strategies to free Burkina Faso, an African nation. I think he was the one that even changed the name of the country from Ouagadougou to Burkina Faso, because as at that time, I think they gave the meaning that the name that Ouagadougou actually means something like animal or whatever. That no, Burkina Faso will be the name, and so it is still today. And bright as the future held for Burkina Faso and Thomas Sankara, this was abruptly terminated when he was assassinated by his closest friend, who took over power from him in the name of Compaoré or something. To my young mind, it was a very painful, even though one does not really, I have not really understood the vision of Thomas Sankara, but I just knew that, look, this man meant well for the nation. And it was still the period of coups here, coups there, coups there, here and there. And everybody claiming to want to chart good causes for their nations. But Thomas Sankara stood out as a young star who meant well for his country, and he started work. Like I said, not long after he was assassinated through betrayal by the person that he trusted. And that was the history. And interestingly, I said, God is marvelous. You cannot silence the truth. You can delay it. The truth is that Africa as a continent is oppressed. Africa as a continent holds no future for our citizens because of the fact that they were in full grip of the powers that be are in full grip of the continent. Africa has been divided and shared by the superpowers to themselves. The Britons of this world, the Frances of this world, who are the people? All we know is that predominantly Africa has been seen as a property, a land to be exploited, a land to be, to make wealth from, but not remembering the people. Nobody bothers about the people on Africa, but they are after the mineral resources in the continent. Then otherwise, and it is better explained when you look at what is happening in Burkina Faso that we are talking about. Burkina Faso had, gold in abundance, and French will come, exploit it, give them 0 point something percent of how much they make out of it after the gold that was exploited from Burkina Faso had been processed, and they sold it for great value. Whereas the portion of Burkina Faso on these mineral resources is close to 0. Just a moment, please. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to take a break. So everything that is concerning the gold exploitation in Burkina Faso is to profit the is to profit French or France. Okay, is is to profit France and not Burkina Faso. And so that has been on and was still on again until Traore came to power about 3 years ago, having practically the same vision as Thomas Sankara. And another thing that, or a nexus that connects Thomas Sankara with President Traore is the fact that, interestingly, Thomas Sankara was born 1 year after 1 year after this man, Thomas Sankara, was assassinated. Okay, I think I said 1978, that Thomas Sankara was murdered in 1978. 78. No, it was around 1987, not 1970s. It was 1980s, 1987 to be precise. And compare the present president, Traore, was born a year after. That was 1988, just 1 year after. Another nexus that connected them was the fact that Thomas Sankara had a vision for his country, a vision of emancipation, and he has it beyond his country. From what he's saying now, we could now see that his aim is actually to liberate the entire Africa. How he's going about it is a different matter, ball game entirely. I'll be talking on that as we go on. So his aim is actually to free Africa from oppression, from suppression, from exploitation, from slavery, and to really give Africa total liberation. It's a complex work. I'm still wondering. It's only God that can help him. But when God has planted a seed or a vision in somebody, he knows how to make that person realize it. So that is why the statement from the book of Genesis chapter 18 from verse 1 to 14 is important, where the three elders visited Abraham and his wife in their tent, and the discussions that ensued, that eventually this old man told Abraham that he would have his son the following year, and in kind of disbelief, Sarah laughed in the tent. And even though Abraham believed, but the laughter of Sarah raised questions, and the people, the elders, knew that Abraham's wife laughed, and they confronted Abraham, and Abraham confronted the wife, and the woman denied. Women, she denied immediately, safely anyway, to save her head. But the situation was shrouded in a kind of mystery, and when you want to follow science, that menopause has set in, and what these people were saying did not agree with science, and all those things. And the woman herself confirmed, how can that be when I've already ceased seeing the issue of women and all that, and and then the summary. The statement was that nothing shall be impossible for God. Nothing is impossible for God. This same statement re-echoed in the book of Luke chapter 1 verse 37, whereby the message was given to Mary, that she will give birth to a child, and so on and so forth, to our Lord Yehoshua. And she said, how will this happen? Because she said, of course, she was a virgin. How can a virgin become pregnant? And what happened? And Angel Gabriel replied and said, for God nothing shall be impossible. When you take these two positions together, both in the Old and the New Testament, it actually buttresses the point I'm trying to make. The vision is tall, the road to achieving it is murky, and it looks humanly impossible. But I have to go beyond the level of logicality, humanity, and go to the realm of the spirit. And I have to back it up by faith that what Traore is trying to achieve, what Sankara tried, he could not get, that Traore has been raised to do now, is a possible accomplishment. It is accomplishable. Africa's emancipation from the hands of our oppressors, and using resources in Africa to develop Africa, they are all possible. But of course, who will want his milk to be taken away from him? Those who are milking you. Painfully last year, I was trying to save my pet, that is my dog, from this, I don't know, I can't remember the name of this, something that sucks their blood. It's like bedbug, but it's not bedbug, but it does the same work as bedbug on dogs mainly. And there were too many on my dog. And I felt for this dog. I did everything. So all I did was started applying some chemicals to kill these things and spare the life of my dog. The first day I applied it, the following day I examined it, I discovered that these things were really, really hell-bent. They were not dying. They were still there, still sucking blood. And I felt for this God. I applied heavier dose on this dog the following day. Unfortunately, the dog died in the process because in feeling the pain, the dog started licking using her tongue to clear the pains, but eventually the thing poisoned the dog. So painful. That dog, very friendly. Anytime I remember, even till today, I still feel seriously pained in my heart. Now, it looks like by way of diagram, what I'm saying is that because I wanted to kill those enemies of that dog, the dog itself got killed. Unfortunately, I pray that we've lost Sankara. I pray that we will not lose Traore this time. And one thing that the world, that is our oppressors in Africa, should understand anyway, is that no matter how many they killed, you see, what we lacked before was the realization, the consciousness that, we have a right, God-given right, that are being exploited, and we were rather even helping them to milk us the more before. But now that the realization has come, nobody can kill this vision anymore. Thomas Sankara has come and gone. I pray that Traore will accomplish it to an extent. It's not even Traore alone that will finish it. He will start it. He will get to a point. Somebody else will take over, and progressively, the world is divided over Africa now. Those who wish Africa well and those who are hell-bent on exploiting Africa till eternity. So there is that consciousness, there is that realization, there is that awakening of Africans that, so this is where our poverty, our suffering, our backwardness, our underdevelopment, our and anything evil, this is where it started from. When we have something and we cannot use it to profit ourselves, and again, there are so many methods being used by the people who are oppressing us. They divide us, and of course, there's back up oppositions to truncate the destiny, everything to truncate the destiny of Africa so that they continue to milk us. So you can now see, but one thing is that the seed has been sown. Now it has germinated, it has sprouted. It is the nurturing of it that we need to do. Thomas Sankara, late Thomas Sankara, has sown the seed. Traore is watering, is nurturing it now. And I pray that Traore's life will not be cut short and his expectation not cut short. God forbid, if this happens, let our oppressors know that somebody will arise again that will go on with the banner and with the, what do you call it now, baton, and run the race. And it's going to be progressively continuous. So our oppressors should better have started looking for other alternatives and leave Africa alone. Enough is enough. I watched a TikTok video clip just yesterday on this Israeli, Palestinian and Iranian war thing. Somebody remarked that blame all the problems in the Middle East and everywhere in the world on the British, that because they were the colonial powers who colonized practically the entire world for over 200 years, and every place they left conflicts there. Because I had read it in history that when they were leaving this Middle East, they offered it to 3 other nations or something. All right? Anyway, that is history. That's not what we're after. We're after our own here. But Britain is the identifiable pioneer of oppression. They did it all over the world, including Nigeria. French took over up to Burkina Faso. You can see these world powers here and there. They were just out to exploit and to dehumanize us. They don't even regard us as human beings. So you can see that they still continued. The day I read from history that even Britain colonized America for over 200 years, I said, this Britain now, wow. And what has become of them today? Well, they may be great by name, but a lot is happening in Britain today. Even though they are still very relevant in the affairs of the world, they are not as strong as they used to be. And everybody started gaining independence. In 1776, America called it bluff. And today, they are on their own. They are able to realize although America themselves, I love America, but I think that they should not have told the path of Britain that colonized them. Because America's interest sometimes is in conflict with the interest of other continents, to the point that, it is glaring that whatever America does not want, a case in point, Libya, they go to the end of it and root it out to protect their own interest or support people that will make such places ungovernable. Anytime I remember that, I remember Libya. So I really cannot say that, America is a saint. It would have been okay if America just concentrates on other areas of getting their whatever they need, or let there be fair play. You see, the world is interrelated, interconnected, and is a global village. But in a situation where a country will want something from another country and want to get it in an exploitative way, giving peanuts at all, if any, to them, and then taking their destiny away. That is where America, to me, has not fared well. I think a leader will arise in America one day that will address that and address it, very well, so that America's interests will be protected and the interests of the people they are dealing with will equally be protected. So when you look at that now, you see that not even America is a saint in this matter today. I just pray that somewhere along the line one day, a leader will arise that will address this issue. And French is not even better. You can imagine when Traore was analyzing that they will take the gold, raw gold from Burkina Faso for peanuts and then go and refine it and then sell it even back to people of Burkina Faso and to the world at large for a heavy profit. That also reminds me of the wickedness we exhibit for one another. There was this medication that I was using, and the lady that was selling it to me, unknown to me, was selling it extraordinarily exorbitantly. And how do I mean by that? Something that was being sold for 7,000 was sold to me by this girl for 20,000. 7,000. That money would have bought 3 of that. And not mind in my state. And this lady is a minister in one of the most popular Pentecostal church, and she comes to me with the Bible, preaches, and proudly saying that she's a minister, that making me to believe. And not only that, her Bible is always there, and even these medicines, anytime she sells them for me, it's like she will pray, And the one that was being sold for like 15,000, she will sell for me for 40,000. The one that was being sold for 18,000, she was sold to me for 40,000. And there was even one painful aspect of it. There was one that was cast. I had paid, and she said, by the time they brought it, that the price had gone up. I had to pay 20,000 extra. So the medication that would have cost me just about 15,000 eventually cost me 50,000. And these are the people that are ministering to us in the Church of God. That's a discussion for another day. This is how we do it. Even now, politically, we manipulate ourselves. Even in matter of trying to make money to help, in order to save our fellow men, what do? We still exploit ourselves. Why is the greed for gain greater than the love that Christ says we should practice in book of Matthew 22:37-39? You shall love your God with the whole of your heart, and you shall love your neighbor as well. Where is the love from that neighbor who professes to be a Christian to me, that I am sick, that I needed to spend reasonable money to get proper medication? What does it profit her to sell one thing for me 3 times the price? How would I have been able to accomplish my treatment? I left one to come and meet this one. This one is even worse. The test that would have been done for just 2,000, 5,000 maximum. The other one did it for me for 22,000 naira. And it was comfortable. And the drugs that, he sold to me very exorbitantly too. That was why I started moving around to find alternatives. And when I found this one, it's even greater in exploitation. Why? So that is it. Now coming to Traore that we are talking about. He has already stepped into the shoes of Thomas Sankara, late Thomas Sankara. And like I said, even by the time Traore is old and is gone, somebody else will arise. The consciousness has been awakened, and Africa will sleep no more. Africa will begin to pursue it. It may take years. If Britain can colonize even America for over 200 years, as Britain has colonized up to the Middle East, or colonized everywhere, eventually they retreated, though they are still indirectly, you know what I mean, neo-colonialism. They're still working everywhere, even including Nigeria that we are in. We'll see that, I'm happy. The day that a mad person knows that he is mad, he will do everything possible to begin to take good care of him or herself by way of, if he notices, there is a lady that was a neighbor, not even a neighbor to Ben Carson's mother. Ben Carson's mother became a psychiatric patient because of the frustrations of life. And this woman knew that she had a problem. And she was nursing children. The husband has abandoned her with the children. And troublesome child. One of them was extraordinarily troublesome. Ben Carson himself, whom God really recovered. And today is a man of renowned accomplishment. Okay. This woman knew that she had a problem. So anytime she noticed the sign, before she loses her mind, she will check her children into the neighbor's house, the house of the neighbors, and they will take care of it. She will go ahead, check herself into the psychiatric home, treat herself, and return home and take her children, and on and off until today. That psychiatric matter did not overpower them. In Africa today, if anybody has any psychiatric, they didn't know. Psychiatric problem is just a normal medical situation. With the people that it affects, not as if it is something that you should be ashamed of, not something that you should. If your family, if it is runs in your family, because it's hereditary, if it, unfortunately anyway, if it is hereditary, it is not something you should be afraid or should be ashamed of. And then the people should run away from. No. All you need to do is take good care of such people. Once you know that they have that kind of thing, all you do is rally around them. Make sure that you start addressing it early in their life, as early as it manifests. Because some might not manifest until later part of their years. So that's another thing. So we need to stop running away from these people, treat them as human beings, and they themselves, those of you who have it that are conscious as I'm speaking, if this message gets to you, take note that you can help yourself. Going to church and saying you are depending upon psychiatric matter is not a spiritual matter. It is more. It is 90% a medical situation. God said He will give them the spirit of madness when people became hardened. So madness is part of the plagues that plagued people when they disobeyed God. So it is treatable. You can pray, but if you depend on prayers and then you are just fasting, you are aggravating the matter. Take your medications. God has given the leeway out for people to be able to live their normal life. After all, people with COVID-19 are living now when they take their medications. So why are we so foolish as to think that this is the end of it and then we stigmatize ourselves? Everybody will have his own way and his own disease, whatever. So if that runs in your family or it runs in somebody you know, rather help that person and let the person themselves, when they are conscious, help themselves. When you know that you begin to say things that are not coordinated, check yourself into psychiatrist's home and get your medications and take them dedicatedly. Anyway, that is by the way. What I'm saying is the awareness. What led us to that? I said, when a mad person realizes that he's mad, his problem has solved from God. He will take care of himself and he will do the needful when he sees the sign. The same thing now that Africa is awake, now that Africa is aware, now that Africa now identifies the core problem of its underdevelopment and poverty and everything. Now you cannot stop them anymore. Traore is a symbol of Africa's emancipation. Traore is a symbol, true symbol of African emancipation. And very soon, this project will be accomplished. When I say very soon, may not be during our lifetime, it may not even be during his own lifetime. But from generation to generation, this project will be pursued until it is accomplished. Now, let's now look at the other side of it. Is this. How the strategy, how would Traore is already working on his own country. The next step he's taken now as a strategy is that he's wooing African countries. Today you have Mali, you have Burkina Faso, you have Niger, and I think 3 or 4 countries. Incidentally, they are under what I can classify as kakistocracy, military rule. And now, the complexity of this is that military rule is something that nobody in the world is professing today. In fact, the plan is to completely eradicate military rule and that democracy should take over. And this democracy thing, the question we ask ourselves, yes, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We didn't finish that statement. Is it government of the people, by the people, for the people? Sorry, government for the people, by the people. Government of the people, handled by the people, and for the people. Is it for people's development or people's oppression? It is the delivery that I'm concerned with. What has democracy delivered to us? Democracy is championed by America. In America today, dividend of democracy is felt, is seen, is enjoyed. And if we say we want to go by that democracy, as I said earlier, what is the role of America, of French or France, in the way these two countries practice their democracy? What is the role of Britain in the way democracy is practiced, where government by the people, government by the people, for the people, by the people, and for the people. Have been practiced and are being practiced today. How do they get their wealth with which they are taking care of their people? They are getting it by, and you see, it's a statement of fact. I don't want to be derogatory. In fact, I love America. Britain, I'm neither here nor there. I'm neither here nor there. Maybe because of their conservatism, as if they cared for themselves more than any other person. I've been there, so I know what I'm saying. I've been to America. I know what I'm saying. When you live in America, you live in an environment that, though not exactly African in nature, not exactly Africa, but you can say to me, I would rate America as having about, be modest, 60% African values, having 60% of African values. You cannot be in America that I know. I didn't dwell there anyway. I spent holidays there. Let me make it clear. Not that I dwelt too much there, but you see, first impression. When you're in America, you feel you are in the midst of a loving, caring people. Even from common value of greetings along the street, in the elevator, along the road, Americans will greet you warmly. There's no country that does not have its own flaws, but America, you may be hearing of shootings here and there. You may hear of racial discrimination. Yes, it's human. So, but when I am in America, I feel more at home than when I'm in Britain. I see Britain as like a dry place in terms of human interaction. You sit with somebody in a bus or a car, and you see the person squeezing himself against the wall so that the body will not touch your own. That never happened in America, that I know. You see somebody in Britain, we are so used to greeting everybody. You greet, he's just looking at you, no response. You begin to wonder. Greet an average American, white or black. The rest, indeed. America values other people's culture. They treasure it. I've seen a situation where just the attire that a woman, puts on along the street, an American kind of, fell in love and said, oh, so this is a nice, we love it. And how, chatting away. Somebody that you didn't know before. These are akin to what will happen in Africa. So I know what I'm saying. I understand what I'm saying. America, Britain, they are not in any way the same. You can easily read an American what he's up to. Never will you read a British man or woman. Never. Never. So, you cannot predict what will happen. Anyway, these are the things. So when I'm now looking at it, but all the same, both America, Britain, France, and other nations, they still get their wealth by exploiting other continents. like what is happening in Burkina Faso. And then, of course, neocolonialism is still there. That is, you say you have freed us, but anything that will make us somebody of substance, you exploit it. You make sure that we don't grow. And the ironical part of it is that you even give us religion that preaches the truth, teaches the truth, and only for the truth to be that it is to stem us down so that you continue to exploit us. So, you can see, whereas if you have given Africa a fair deal, you have knowledge, technology, and you transfer knowledge to us, we too can develop from there. But you so made the world in such a way that people will labor, you plant cocoa, it must get to Europe for processing. And it got to a point that our crude oil refinery was sabotaged here, to the point that we were refining crude oil from outside the continent of Africa. So all the opportunities for employment and everything, they all go back there. So there is no stage you left for us to be able to develop ourselves. We have to depend upon the importation. We got it, we export it, and we paid heavily to import it, and we now buy it exorbitantly here. The gold will be excavated from Burkina Faso, taken to France for refining, and after refining, it's sold back to us in Africa. Is it the chocolate that comes from the cocoa that we grow in Africa? You gave us cocoa to be growing for you, to make your chocolate. I know much about how I buy much chocolate, whatever, this chocolate here. Even the little that I eat sometimes, I know how much I buy them. So, when you look at all that, they are terrible. That is man's inhumanity to another. Can we not strike a balance in such a way that you collect these things from Africa for good value? You process and sell to wherever you want to sell. And yes, what you will say is that it will be more expensive. Yes. At the point of selling the finished raw material. Then why is it that side by side, Africa cannot refine this thing, refine the gold, refine the petrol, the crude, refine the cocoa, produce something out of it? They themselves here are producing chocolate for Africans to eat. Yes, it will cripple the price of chocolate. It will cripple the price of fuel. It will cripple the price of the refined gold. Yes, all of us will buy it cheaply. You will not be able to overprice. All of it's equity. All of Africa will gain. Transfer the technology to us. Give us the knowledge with which we are doing. Thank God now today we are having individuals refining crude and bringing out petroleum. And this fuel is not damaging people's cars. They are not damaging people's cars. So why is it that you cripple every giant project we have on crude oil refinery here, and we have to export crude to you, then you refine it, giving employment to your people, making us unemployed there, and returning it to us. And we are now, those of us who haven't used the cars, we are paying heavily for what we have. And then when are we going to develop? Are you interested in us developing? I know nobody would. One of the wickedness of the world is that nobody voluntarily transfers knowledge to another. That our own part of the story is there because we too, very complacent, very lazy, unwilling to learn. My people perish from lack of knowledge. Hosea 4:6. You cannot refine anything unless you know about the thing, the technology behind it. Are we ready to study to the point of knowing it? Or looking for easy life? Those of you who are even educated who can do something about science, push yourself to America, to Britain and France, and then, making money there. You are contented living in Africa in the dearth of skills that could transform the continent. I know that things will change. So the strategy. Now, Traore, okay, we are talking of kakistography versus democracy. So even in the practice of democracy, if it is to continue to exploit others, it is dangerous. It is not good. But if it is to profit everybody, if equity has a place in the practice of democracy, if country A will not go and invade country B because country B has some things, and then country A is interested in it, and because country B has people who say, okay, let us refine inside, you say no, then you go and kill that leader so that you'll be getting and be exploited, and then you divide and rule. How many coup d'etats have Traore escaped? More than 20, so we learned, within 3 years. Kilo day. Why now? Because of this selfish interest. Because of these material things that will take nothing out of this world from. You taught us. At least in Christianity, there's nothing. You come out with nothing and you go with nothing. Then why are we dying on nothingness? Why do we want to have and we don't want another to have? So Africa has its own problem. Nobody will give it to us unless we take. Now that Traore is talking that we must be emancipated. Thomas Sankara has started it, they killed him. Libya tried it, they killed him. And they remind us of the several leadership. Nkrumah had this vision. It never kind of surfaced. It never came to much. United States of Africa. Everyone that pursued them, they are frustrated or killed or made irrelevant and rendered incapacitated. They cannot, such that they cannot pursue it further. But from the time of Nkrumah till now, Nkrumah rose from Ghana, Thomas Sankara rose from Burkina Faso, and now Traore from Burkina Faso, Mali has their own, Niger has their own. People are rising to say, leave us, we want to be producing, Traore went to Russia and said, give us knowledge. And he wants to be producing electric cars now. He's refining the gold already. He's sending tractors to farmers and they want to be producing products from cashew nuts that we are exporting. I think very soon these advanced countries will be looking for other ways of getting their raw material or partner with us so that we play on equal footing so that we can be refining here, they will be refining there, they buy our own, we sell, and all of us put our products in the market. It should not be monopoly. So if democracy will produce injustice, underdevelopment, poverty for Africa, then kakistocracy, if it will produce equity, justice, development, wealth, or prosperity for Africa, man, if you were to choose, which one will you choose? Because every government is out to protect the lives and properties of his citizens and give them better life. Now, the various forms of government, majorly now, kakistocracy and that's the one we call militocracy or democracy. We know that the military, right from the very beginning, they are not trained for governance, but there are some people that, amongst them, that God gave innate ability to be able to govern and lead well. Traore is one of them. Late Murtala Mohammed of Nigeria is one of them. General Gowon tried, is one of them. Buhari tried as a military person, but failed as a Democrat. Obasanjo tried as a military man, but failed when it got to democracy. We need to ask ourselves. I think we should begin to redefine that we should be looking at whether it is from militocracy or kakistocracy or from democracy. Who is it that will profit humanity? Who is it that will bring about justice, fairness, equity, and emancipation to human race? If it's coming from militocracy or it's coming from democracy, I have no issue. But when democracy that is supposed to be for the benefit of everybody is engendering or producing unfairness, will I not query it? This is one other area that God forbid that people will not begin to return to kakistocracy. We know that majorly kakistocracy, many of them do not profit the people. They are more corrupt than the politicians themselves. But if we must practice democracy, democracy must produce all men to be equal before God. So that is where I am a bit concerned that, look, in as much as I would have preferred democracy, will it not be wiser, sensible for me to choose, not minding where it comes, whosoever, whether from militocracy or kakistocracy or democracy, whosoever will bring advancement to the human race? So democracy needs to be redefined to profit all, instead of to profit the powerful, those who can oppress another. So Traore is a continuity of Nkrumah, Thomas Sankara combined. In the democratic world now, every president has promised heaven on earth. Which one has produced heaven on earth? Traore, within 3 years, is already producing it. Now, I said it is the emancipation of Africa that Traore is interested in. Yes. But the strategy is of he has to watch out for. I can see the love letters he's writing to P.Obi, to Kanu in Nigeria. How will he do it in such a way that he will not set Nigeria against herself? already is campaigning for Obi for 2027. Clear. But internally, does Obi have what it takes? The stature of Obi politically, is it strong enough to be able to accomplish this goal at this time? You know, comparing him with the people or his contemporaries in the race, like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, like what's his name? Ex-Vice President Atiku Abubakar. The three of them are the giants in the race today. And I look around, I've not seen somebody who has a voice as loud as they are. Other people may be trying. My younger brother, Traore, look at how much he's trying. Fela Drotoye is learning. Tunde Bakari tried it. He saw that he's a dwarf politically. Who are they? My brother Mogalu, the other time, I think he has faced his business. But Obi, Atiku, and Tinubu, they are now the people that you can say, when you are talking of getting the power, the dice is on their table. However, now let us weigh them in stature by way of ability to really penetrate the nation deeply. Who amongst them is stronger? You see, in political stature, Obi cannot be compared with Tinubu. He cannot be compared with Atiku. What gave Obi the stature he has today is even protest by the people against both Atiku and Tinubu. Ordinarily, he has not earned the stature, but simply had, people are looking for where else do we go? And he garnered that. It's a protest vote. I can foresee that, please, my brothers, express your own views. Don't abuse me. I'm only expressing my views. Don't be so aggressive. Let us be realistic in our assessments. Me, I can foresee that if Obi stands alone, he may not be near what he was in 2023, because apart from the political machinations and manipulations, apart from the power of incumbency, apart from what is going on, even today, Tinubu has gained more strength. How he got it is not the issue. When I say it's not the issue, politicians. And politics is not about morality. It's not about fear of God. It's not about, it is getting it at all costs, do or die. So however he gets is another thing. The way things are playing out. So when you look at all this, I still see the position of 2027's election result, as it is today, but with less figures for Obi. Put Abubakar there is not relevant, so to speak, I'm sorry to say. Because unless something happened to APC that scatters APC as PDP. What made APC to have this upper hand is because PDP shattered beyond recovery. Unless something dramatic happened to APC, PDP has no place. Labour Party or wherever Obi belongs has no place. The maximum that Obi can get is the second position in 2027. Otherwise, I still see him being in the third position. And the reason is this: penetration of the North. Obi's political stature is not strong enough. Ordinarily, he will not penetrate the North on his own, unless there is calamity in the camp of APC. Now, what am I saying with all this little assessment that I'm looking at? What I'm saying is that, okay, will the involvement of Traore, the alliance with Traore, involvement of Traore not set Obi against the sovereign power of Nigeria? Will it not disadvantage Obi eventually instead of promoting him? Because I can see that the more Burkina Faso supports, I know Burkina Faso and President Tinubu, I know that what Traore is doing is like the fight between the young and the old. The young is eager for power. The old is saying, wait for your time. Will it not set them against one another? Will President Bola Ahmed Tinubu not use everything he has to ensure that Obi becoming the president of Nigeria is not realized? Unless God says it must be realized, because if God says it must be realized, the camp of APC will shatter. Something dramatic will happen. And Obi will become the most favorite person. If not. And then I see that relationship endangering even the political ambition of Obi more than helping it. Alliance with Kanu. Every nation has its own laws. It's a pity that Kanu is incarcerated this way. Well, we should all be realistic. I'm not in support. If there is a way, take him out of the prison, resettle him, let him be. That's my own position. He has stayed enough there. But with Traore's romance, letters, everything with him, will the state of Nigeria, as constituted today, not see Traore as encouraging rebellion, encouraging Nigeria's disintegration, encouraging Nigeria's disunity? And which government will see that and hold it with light fingers? Because it is, you see, with Obi, yes. But with the case of Kanu, that's like, all I felt Traore should have been doing would have been to be appealing instead of threatening, or instead of saying he's encouraging. I had the letter. I heard of it over the social media. The letter was read. If it is the original, allegedly, the letter he allegedly wrote to Kanu. May be comforting to Kanu, but will it solve the matter? Will it lead to his quick release? Will it not allow the heart of the present regime to be more hardened towards releasing Kanu? These are food for thought. To emancipate Africa, you can see Traore is now saying, let us African brothers join together to achieve. It's a tall order. Are we going to achieve it meritocratically or democratically? Traore is on the other side of the divide. Tinubu is in the time of area of democracy. I've talked about the democracy that has no meaning, that has no justice, that has no fair play, that has no egalitarianism defined. But if it is true democracy, that's what everybody wants. So, I don't know. My brother, my sister, my fathers, my mommies, my elders, the younger ones, our children, who are the future of tomorrow. I don't understand. Life is complex. You see how I've been tracing it from Britain colonizing the whole world, meeting injustice, living conflicts everywhere, which is still on today. America took over leadership till today, and it has its own traces of, how best not to do it. And then Africa. Everybody that is trying to rise is suppressed. So, what do we? Life is complex, and even within this one, nation to nation are still quarreling with one another. Okay, Traore wants African unity. Is it democratically or whatever? I think I've posted something for I say he should rather opt for democracy, but then to be able to carry out this, he should transit from militocracy to democracy and carry out all these good intentions of his. Because the world is not looking at military, even though the leadership of the military may be the one that has vision and can deliver democracy, dividends of democracy. It has to transit to democracy first. And the militancy approach, I don't know how he wants to achieve it. How you will be fighting let me be fair. There's no more smoke without fire. I've read, allegedly, I've seen the various things that transpire between Bola Tinubu and Traore. Traore, through the salvo, the first one I saw was about Tinubu being an aged person, he should go and sit down and all that. In America today, who is the president of America that for now that is less than 70 years? That is politics, that is sentiment. Let the man go and sit down. And then to the letters to Obi, to the letters to Kanu, are these not militancy? It is the militancy approach. It will further divide Africa, no matter how good your intention is. What I mean your intention, Traore's intention. If father and son cannot sit together, if son is always abusing the father, if son is always instigating others against, and if son is forming a parallel government against his father, when will the African people unite? Or is it that Traore wants to form a total alliance that will erase ECOWAS, African Union, and whatever, and then truncate everything that they have been discussing, do not yet realize so sluggish, so slow. Yes, it's not easy in the committee of people. Because I saw where he was crying for the unity of the 54 nations of Africa, United States of Africa, that Gaddafi has already proposed, that Nkrumah has proposed. So is he forming a parallel movement, parallel to ECOWAS, to that have been long-standing? You may say they've not achieved. How much has the United States, UN, United Nations achieved? They've achieved so little, but those little, they are very important, because if not for United Nations today, the world would have been in chaos. At least from the United Nations, nations can see eye to eye even in the midst of chaos, in the midst of wars. They are able to put reasonable things together, to, no matter how little, to make sure that things have not degenerated to the Third World War. So are we going to say that ECOWAS and African Union have not done anything at all, or that they are sluggish? Yes. But can we say they have not achieved anything at all? I don't think that would be true. So for how Traore want to do it, I know he has the backing of Russia, but that's not enough. But that's still, of course, militants. Touch Traore, you've touched me. That's what was allegedly said by Putin. Then are we not saying that we want to put Africa to be in coalition? Are we not going to be, you see, a time will come. You see, we all need ourselves. Europe, Asia, Africa, every other, or the Australians of this world, we all need ourselves. There is no doubt. It is just the approach that differs. With the approach of oppression is what is spoiling this whole show. Are we going to get to the point where Africa, or parts of Africa, will now begin to be anti-Asia, pro-Asia, and then the Western world will now be looking? They will wage more war against us. They can even be fighting. I can foresee Europe, Americas, and Russia facing one another later. Over what? Oh, touch Traore, touch an African nation, you've touched me. And if all of us rushed under the Russia or Asia side, what will happen if tomorrow? Is there anything that, are we saying that the Russia or Asian people will not have something they are gaining before they supported us? They may not have colonized us directly. There will be another unknown, unclear. Everybody pursues their own interests, Asia inclusive. I think they will be investing so massively in your place without anything in return. These are the areas we need to think of. That's where Traore himself, if this message will get to him, we need to think about before deepening the fragmentation of Africa. He should have looked for a way of seeing the way he could align with African vision. He has good intentions for Africa, but he cannot single-handedly do it without the cooperation of people who have been before him. Traore needs to be told. He should not scatter the house thinking that he wants to build it. It may take long. Democracy, beneficial democracy, equitable democracy, justice producing democracy, equality democracy, egalitarian democracy that yields progress, development, promotes human dignity is what we need. This is what we should be exploring. And how to tap it and get there. It may take us 200 years to get there. Let it be. But if we have a diversion now, and it is now elders against the youths, Traore sees Obi as a youth, sees Kanu as a youth, who have visions, who are energetic. But is everything, is it by power or by might? I love Traore, but his approach, his strategies, he needs to do a rethink on some of them. You cannot be anti-other nations, anti-elders, anti-leadership. And are these people not the people, part of the people you are fighting for? Anyway, food for thought. Traore's vision of emancipating Africa is okay, but his strategies need to be redefined so that we don't end up in Africa in chaos instead of development. God bless you, my listener. It is a deep talk and it's long. Yes, let us take time out to redefine Africa, and let us be watching out for the strategies, not the strategies that will harm us instead of harming us. The strategies that will disarm instead of harming us. Don't let us go for anything that will disarm us. Disarm in the sense that will weaken our position to attaining our goal of emancipation. God bless you, please. I think you don't need to be told that this message needs to be shared to the entire world and the leaderships of the world, entire world, the people and leaderships of the entire world. Thank you for doing it in advance. God bless you. Together, we have to build the world. I'm concerned with the advancement of the world, all the peoples of the world, than the advancement of a segment alone. Subscribe, comment fairly, please. Don't be too aggressive in your comments. I've aired my view. If you know that you disagree, don't abuse me. Just go to your own page or go to your own platform and say the same thing, your own views. You're abusing me, you're antagonizing me. To me, will amount to being myopic. Let us debate the world and move it forward. God bless you. Not abusing ourselves.